Hello, I'm Scott Moore, Associate Professor at Michigan's Ross School of Business. Today we're going to talk about some funny quirks in the search process. There will be things that the search engine ignores and some things that you think it might ignore, but it doesn't. The examples and the points that I talk about are going to be directly from the related to the Google search engine, but for the most part, these issues and sort of strange happenings are also related to other search engines. So the four things I'm going to talk about today are capitalization, special characters, misspellings, and word order. For each one of these, I'll talk about it generally, and then I'll go through some examples. You'll definitely want to play around with this afterwards to see how these things work, because you'll have to be aware of all of these later when you're doing your own searches. But it's also the case that some of these features change over time as they revise and refine their search engine. So, first thing, we'll talk about capitalization. Generally, capitalization is completely ignored by the Google search engine. So if I type in Michigan, that's what I come up with, 863 million different documents. And if I change this so that the N at the end is capitalized, I'm going to get exactly the same result. It's just completely ignored by the search engine. So you don't have to worry about it, how you type it in with capitalization. Special characters is the next one that I'm going to talk about. So special characters like if I say I want to look for baseball where the word is at the end of the sentence, so I'm going to put a period. Well, that period is completely ignored. It just isn't involved in the query. It's stripped out entirely. So I get rid of it and I get the same thing. But I can't say that they're always completely ignored. So if I type in, X and X and 3. So now what we have is not X and 3. It's like it's searching for X3. So you'll see X to the third, X3 itself, X equals 3. So in what it's searching for, it's taken out those funny characters, and in what I entered in the query box, it's also taken out that character. So then you think, all right, maybe it's the case that I'll say X to the third. Well, it doesn't do that. It evaluates that. It's a mathematical expression. Google, as much as it can, will evaluate mathematical expressions. So 3 plus 4, it's not going to say I'm going to look for 3 plus 4. It evaluates 3 plus 4, and what do you know? It gives me 7. So if there's a mathematical expression that you enter, it doesn't search for it, it evaluates it. Some other characters that it doesn't ignore, Audi 100. That's a car. It was a car from, a decade or two ago. All right, so there it is. There's some pictures. Lovely. But what if I wanted to say Audi $100? Well, it doesn't ignore that. If it ignored it, you would think it would just look for Audi 100, but it knows that that's $100. So then it does searches for Audi and $100. Okay, so the dollar sign, we'll see this as we go through this class more, that you'll see the dollar sign is a special indicator that it knows something, what to do with. Another symbol that it does something with is the dash. The dash, when it's in a word like that, it'll search for both school-wide as one word and school-wide with a dash in the middle and school-wide with a space. So it treats it all three different ways at once. So here's school-wide, here is school-wide, school-wide. Let's see if we can see school space-wide, and we don't see it here. No, but they're all the school dash wide here and school wide without. And notice these searches related are all different related to school dash wide. Let's see what happens if this had 601 million terms. Now if I just do that, now it's just looking for school wide, one word. Okay, one word. If I say school wide, two words, now it's looking for school wide, two words. Okay, so the most flexible would say school dash wide, and it's looking for both school wide like that and school wide with a dash. Another special kind of term is the asterisk term. So I can say there are blank types of spaniels. Now what it's going to do is search for phrases that say there are something types of spaniels. There are two types of spaniels, two, many, two, various, many. There are two types of Cocker Spaniels. Okay. So what if I now put in a quotes, there are many, various other types of spaniels. Now it doesn't have Cocker Spaniels because it's looking for this exact phrase, except here. Okay. So the asterisk can act as a wild card. Okay. Without the quotes, it will be a little bit more forgiving in terms of the wording of the phrase. But with the quotes, it'll be less forgiving with the wording of a phrase. Okay, so that is with special characters. You'll have to play around with it. There are some special characters that it doesn't ignore. So if I'm looking for C++ language, it looks for C++. If I'm looking for C#, another programming language, it knows C#. Notice here we have C# as the first one, even though it's not in the title, and these others it is in the title. Guess what? Google Plus will also be searched for Google Plus. So there are some special characters that it treats exactly like here with C#, C++, Google+. And there are others like that. There are others that it uses for something, that is for the asterisk as a wildcard, and the dash, it's this special word joining wildcard. And then there are others that it just completely ignores, like the X and 3 example that we had, where it's just stripped out of the search altogether and not used at all. All right, so now, next one I'm going to talk about is misspellings. Misspellings are kind of, sort of ignored and used at the same time. So let's look for spaniels. I'm spelling it incorrectly here. So spaniels. Now spaniels, it does look for spaniel spelled this way. Spaniel, no, now this time it doesn't. And it knows that you probably mean spaniels with an E. And so it does a whole bunch of searches for that as well, because these are not spaniels, those are spaniels with an E, right? And here's spaniel Wikipedia entry. But it will also search for spaniels with an A. But it provides this correction here up top. Another one that's near and dear to those of us who live in Michigan is Nicholas, and everyone says Lindstrom. Okay, hit enter, and it says, no, you probably mean Nicholas Lidstrom. And then it gives this whole information over here using Knowledge Graph, which we'll talk about at a future time, about Nicholas Lidstrom. And it searches here, and then it says, all right, I'm going to go ahead and do a search for Nicholas Lindstrom as well and give a whole bunch of findings there. But it knows you probably mean Nicholas Lidstrom. Didn't get the first or last name right? And it still knew it. It still knew it. Okay. So with misspellings, sometimes you could, if you know that there's a page that misspells a word in a particular way, you can search for that, and it will do that search. But if you don't know how to spell something, it'll help you out. It'll be forgiving and go ahead and provide a link to the alternate correct spelling that you probably meant to do. Now, last one, word order. Word order matters. Okay, it just matters. It generally treats the words at the beginning of the search to be more important than the words later in the search. But also, there's things like fire truck, right? And that's a fire truck. And then there's things like truck fire, which is something entirely different. Well, it knows that. Okay? It knows that words in particular orders mean something, and words in different orders mean something else. It knows that if you have a query with 10 words, that the words at the beginning that you put there first are probably the important ones. And by the way, if you aren't getting good results when you have a long query, think about how you can rearrange the ordering of those words in order to get different results. Okay? So when you have words at the end, maybe those words are not helping, so you can sometimes get rid of those and it'll change the results. Other times, if you bring those to the front, you'll get different results. So word order matters. Don't just start slapping words down in your query. Think about the important ones, getting those at the beginning. Phrases, getting the phrases right. And if it's a phrase that you can put quotes around, please put quotes around it. Okay. And that's it. That's 4 general kind of funny characteristics of Google in particular, but also other search engines. If you don't think about these things, they can sort of mess you up. If you think you can look for these special characters and it continues to give you bad answers, well, it's because it's ignoring you. It's ignoring those special characters. Misspellings, it's forgiving about that. That's real nice. Capitalization, you can ignore that too. Word order is something that you maybe think doesn't matter, but it actually does. So pay attention to that. All right, so play around with these different features and learn more about it. Get a better feeling for yourself. Until next time.